blokes back out on the water. Finally got some good weather. 3 decent days in a row. So I've come out for a 2-night camp on the lake / river. I'll just go to my usual camp spot. The one we've dubbed Cicada Point. My mate Adam, he'll be joining me tomorrow. He couldn't make today, so he'll come and join me for the final night. So what are the chances of me catching a fish? That's what I want. There's so much structure in this lake. It's just a matter of landing it in the right spot. First cast of the trip. I've just been meandering over across the lake. And that was nowhere near where I wanted it. Let's try that again. And we have a snag. It's a beautiful day out here on the lake. There's been a bit of fish activity on the surface. I've already lost 2 rigs to 2 snags. I've just been slowly skirting all the edges. Some obvious rubbish. I was wondering when one of those might show up. A cloth mask. I wonder if that'd be good tinder for a fire starter. Well, we appear to be on, but it's gone behind under a log. I think it's a fish and a snag. That is a major bummer. Well, that's a bummer. Oh, we're about to bust this line. That was a definite fish, and it must have gone under a submerged log and became a very, very tight snag. I had to cut the line. Oh well, it's only the start of the trip. Well, camp was a little bit messy. No doubt helped from that very fast, wild storm we had come in last night. Big hard rain, all done in about half an hour to an hour. A lot of washed down debris here. It's about almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm just having a snack before I get camp fully set up. I've done hammock camping once before. This time I have a underquilt. Now it's not very cold really, the weather, but it hasn't been tried, it hasn't been tested, and I just want to see what it's like. So that's my sleep setup for the next 2 nights. Hammock, tarp over top, an underquilt, and a top quilt. Kiwi fruit, one of the nicer fruits in the world. These are nice, a bit dirty. Oh, juicy. That is good stuff. Well, camp is all set up. It's probably a little bit after 5 PM, I think. Maybe a bit later. Just going to have an afternoon coffee before I head out and try and catch a fish. Although it's daylight saving, it's still not going to be dark for a while. Optimum time will be around about dusk. So I bought a ration pack from a camping goods store. It's basically like a $39 pack of 3 meals or 2 meals, a breakfast, and then just a heap of satchel stuff, sugars, coffees, hot chocolate. What else is in there? An orange drink of some kind, probably like a Tang. There's some bickies, a couple of bickies, and you got little things like little choc-coated nuts and trail mix. Just all probably to cater for 2 night, should be 2 morning. There's only 1 breakfast in there. Couple of nights, couple of days, that kind of thing. So I thought I'd test it all out and just try it all here. I think the meals, there's a beef and potato hot pot Thai chicken curry, and the breakfast is a porridge of some kind. I haven't had porridge since I was a kid. It's just not something I do. And I've just tried the satchel coffee with sugar and creamer. And it's pretty horrible. Always bring your own coffee. Well, as I said, I'll be heading out soon, hopefully to catch dinner, rather than eat this stuff, although that's the plan, was to eat this stuff. Hopefully I can catch a fish, because that is always my main goal out here. But sleep system set up, tarp, hammock, underquilt, top quilt, and bug net. Quite the system. I'm not sure how often I'm going to be a hammock camper. I'll see how this goes tonight. This is the first time trying the underquilt. I have no doubt that it'll be warm, but we'll see how I sleep. But I also have a new camp mat to try out, and I didn't bring that this trip because I'm suspended off the ground here, and camp mats are no good in hammocks, as I found out the first time I used the hammock. It just doesn't work, you can't get diagonal with it. But we'll see how it goes. I'll report in the morning. We are on. It could be dinner. It's only a little one though. I think I'll put him back. Away he goes. The good old cicada strikes again. I am at Cicada Point. I'm using a cicada lure. Let's see if we can do that again. Alright, the ration pack that I brought to sustain myself on over this couple of days. The first thing I had was the coffee, and it was horrible. But now I've got a backcountry meal. This is Thai chicken curry. I've only had a couple of these types of meals before, and I wouldn't say they were fantastic, but I'll give this one a go. That tastes nice. Well, Thai chicken curry isn't too bad. It's a beautiful calm night. It's not too cold. It's chilly, but not cold. Fire is giving just the right amount of warmth. Well, I'm just going to kick back, eat my dinner. Very late dinner. It's 10:21 PM. Alright, I'm going to kick back, eat this dinner, and sit and stare at the fire for a while. See you in the AM. Well, it's the last morning of the camp. We're about to get stuck into pack-up mode and paddle on out of here. Once my mate Adam had shown up, I abruptly neglected filming and just got into our usual never-ending philosophical talk about the world, and so I didn't film a lot more after the first day. Other than that, it has been a good couple of days, except for the wind, which has been ever present, but it's camping and we love it. My sleep system was perfectly warm with the underquilt, trying that for the first time. That's rated down to -5. My top quilt is also a -5, and for warmth, absolutely perfect. However, I don't think I'm a big fan of hammock sleeping because I tend to slide down, and I don't know, I tend to have my head lower than my legs or something, and I both mornings wake up with a headache. So that system's going to go into hiatus for a while. But I do have a flash new sleeping mat that I have to try out now. Adam got to try his out and says it was absolutely beautiful. So I'm looking forward to using that on my next setup. Anyway, it's time to pack up and get out of here. I'll be casting on the way back. Who knows, I might catch something on the way back to take home. you enjoyed the intermission. We've come back out onto the lake 1 week later to continue that video. The problem was, after my first day, when Adam arrived in the afternoon of the second day, I pretty much neglected to film anything. We just embarked on what we normally do, is try to dissect the state of the world with in-depth conversation and philosophical rants. And I let the filming go by the wayside. And so on that second evening, out on the water for the evening fish, I only have a story. I didn't even turn the video on at that time. I hooked the biggest trout I've ever hooked. And I'm thinking something like that. Quite fat. And I got it 3/4 of the way out of the water beside me, no net. Did a big shake and shook itself off. The colour was amazing. I thought maybe a brown, which would be the predominant species, but they've released rainbow into here, and they have released tiger trout. The colour on this thing was a minimum rainbow, so I reckon it could have been a tiger. Ooh, but I didn't have a net. So, because I neglected to continue filming, because we were just chatting the whole time, I identified a break in the weather this weekend, which, true to form, is not displaying what the forecast says. I am fighting a full-on headwind crossing the lake right now. To resume this trip, and more importantly, to go back and catch that trout. Oh, this wind is relentless. I've crossed the lake, the large part of the lake. I'm still in a very large area, of course, heading upriver. It's been a full-on headwind all the way. It still is. If I stop paddling, I immediately stop and start to drift backwards. Oh, this is hard work. Trying to get away from the trees. Get away. And then the gust stops, giving me a little bit of freedom to get some leeway, and then the gust comes back in again. This is going to be a workout all the way back to Cicada Point. The sanctuary of Cicada Point Campground. Alright, I'm just coming out of the first of the 2 forbidden forests. I've got the gates of Mordor to my left. Nice little cove where it looks nice and calm, obviously protected. So I shall bypass Mordor. What am I saying? Get through this next forbidden forest, turn the corner, and float on into the bush home. Look at that. If I just do paddling like this, I'm motionless in the one spot. Look at the background. See, I'm not advancing. But if I go a bit harder, get some forward momentum, have a quick rest, and immediately stop. Oh no, still going forward. But now I'm turning, getting blown that way. Oh my, that became the single hardest paddle I've ever done in a kayak. All the way across the lake, all the way through the midsection with the 2 forbidden forests, all the way until the bend where you kind of come into line with the grassy knoll and then turn back this way towards this camp. That entire run was full on headwind. If I stopped paddling, I went backwards. So I've never had to paddle that hard, that far, all the way. And as soon as I got to the bend, I just turned the bow, pretty much got blown into camp. Just having a little bit of a Polish sausage lunch. And so, in this part 2 part of this trip, it's going to be easterlies and northeasterlies for the whole time, just blowing into camp. So I'm going to have to do a bit of a setup where I'm facing away from this wind and have the tarp on the downside to give me a bit of protection. No hammock this time. Just going with an inner tent, no fly, just with the tarp set up over it. Take it right down to the ground on one side, give me some wind protection. Well, if there's one thing about this campsite, I'm sure it's a lot to do with the type of vegetation and terrain, but we are surrounded by water. Doesn't matter if it's cold, mozzies are always here. Normally mozzies are gone in the colder weather, but they're always here. And they're big, and they're millions. I think I just made a traditional A-frame tent out of the tarp. I needed to get away from strong prevailing winds flying into this campsite. I've just thrown my inner tent in there. The irony is not lost on me that I could have just brought the fly for my tent. But I initially was just going to have an open setup and just be underneath the tarp, but the winds are settling in, although quiet right now. But I've just created an A-frame open front tent. There we go. My one great hope, as always coming out here, is to catch a really good keeper fish, cook it up over the fire or over the stove. But I have a second great hope now, that the wind dies down. It generally does in the evening at around about dusk, which is a good time when I'm out on the water. But good consistent weather is hard to come by. What are we, the 11th of December? We don't even have summer yet. Although, tomorrow is supposed to be 23 degrees and sunny. Still windy. And Monday is meant to be 30 degrees. So that'll be a first for the summer. At least there's no rain forecast. But then they're not getting the forecast correct these days. I can see bits of blue interspersed in the clouds. That certainly needs to cool down. Well, it's a pretty nice morning. Still quite windy. When I say quite, it's ever present. Picks up every now and then, gusting, and then quietens down. Hopefully it'll be a milder, windy day today. Nice and sunny though. Thumbs up to my brand new sleeping mat. Best one I've ever had. I've got some good sleep. Wider than most, makes it comfortable. It's a bit weighty, so it's not really good for the hiking choices, but great for camping. So I'm toying with the idea of chopping up the remaining Polish sausage that I've got here, lest it go off on me. Mix it in with some eggs. Sausage and egg breakfast. Enjoy the coffee first. Last evening's fishing was absolutely terrible. Too windy. I had to tie myself off to trees everywhere just to be able to stay in one spot so that I could cast. The moment you did cast, you were meters away because you're just constantly being moved by the wind. So yeah, unless you're able to drop an anchor from your kayak, it's very hard to sit still and cast. Brand new fry pan, and it's got a built-in spatula into the handle, Got to pop that out first. A little spatula. There we go. Beautiful. A little bit of salt and pepper to taste. This is a terrible little salt and pepper shaker. I've got a million flies around me right now. Look at all these flies, will you? Good old Australia. Can you see all the flies? Well, this is good. And here's that wind. "11:20 AM and it's just too windy to get out there and fish. Coming to the middle of the day, not the best time. This wind will not let up. So I'm just going to stay in camp. Bushcraft. I'll give that a sand up when I get home. We drill a little hole through it, have a little bit of a leather loop for a hang. Well, that fills in the time at camp, doesn't it? I think it's time for something to eat for lunch. Well, the last evening, no success with the fish. I'll just trawl a line across here until I get back to camp. Nothing on there yet. I hooked the fish once just by trawling behind me, and that was just crossing the main lake back to the ramp, right in the middle. Hooked a trout. It was a good one. So I pretty much spent all day in camp. The wind was just too big. So I mucked around, carved the spoon. Actually had an afternoon snooze. That was nice. So allegedly 30 degrees tomorrow. Wind not quite as bad. I'm actually toying with the idea of getting up at sunrise, or pre-sunrise. One would expect that the water will be calm, hopefully. Maybe I'll catch a breakfast fish, or a lunch fish, or a take-home dinner fish. Oh, who knows? Well, the wind is 50% calmer than it has been right now. It would be nice if that was indicative of the evening. I can have a fire that won't just blow smoke constantly in my face. It's a little after dawn, as you can see the sun is up. Slight breeze, a bit ripply, nice and easy on the water. Well, it appears we're on. It's just a tiny little bass. Tiny little bass to start the morning. Yeah, we're gonna get you off. There you go. This is what I come out here for. Absolutely beautiful and calm. Lots of glassy action at the moment. Oh, we've got another tiny redfin this time. There he goes. Well, it's time to push off, as they say. Goodbye for now, Cicada Point. Push, push, push. Alrighty. Just backing out of the driveway. As expected, the wind has picked up just a little bit. It's not too bad though, nowhere near the last couple of days. I'm going to go over there and skirt the edges of nice calm water. And eventually make my way back to the lake. Being that it's a Monday, I haven't seen a single boat for the whole morning, I don't think. Or there might have been one who... No, I haven't seen a boat at all today. So for all I know, society and the world could have collapsed. Although I still got phone reception. Someone would have told me. Or I'm the only one in the entire world that now has the internet, because somehow the internet's still running. Anyway, I'm rambling. Oh, that's cool. There's a lyrebird over there making all the bird sounds. How you going?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Have you caught anything?
Nothing I can throw in the pan.
Looks like you've got a good setup.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think I can improve it now. So. Well, I've reached the lake. I'm just going to troll me a line behind me as I cross the lake, as I always do. I revisited the spot where I hooked the trout several times. Of course, it's still just a story. I can't prove it. But why would I lie to you? I don't lie. Time to troll that line, I believe. Caught a few fish, but nothing worth keeping, except for that first bass. Upon reflection, that was perfect pan size for my brand new jet boil fry pan. I was relying on Qui-Gon's advice. There's always a bigger fish. The challenge continues. As you're making your way through this world, folks, stay well. I shall see you next time.